Hey, quick question. Did you think AI just exploded out of nowhere with ChatGPT? Like, one day it was sci-fi, the next day it was writing your emails, generating code, passing law exams, and threatening your cousin's job in customer service? Yeah, not quite. Artificial intelligence almost didn't make it. Twice. Not once, but two brutal times it was practically left for dead. Forgotten, defunded, and mocked by the very people who once hyped it up. We're talking two full-blown AI winters, cold, silent, and very real. And if we don't pay attention to what happened back then, well, we just might be headed for another freeze. So buckle in. We're going back, way back, to see why AI nearly flatlined, who pulled the plug, and how we clawed our way back to this weird, wild ride we're on now. In 1956, AI is born, and the baby's a genius. All right, let's rewind to the summer of '56. A group of scientists at Dartmouth, including John McCarthy and Marvin Minsky, got together and said, "You know what? We think we can make machines think like humans. Bold, ambitious, a little cocky. But who could blame them? Back then, computers had just started solving mathematical problems, and the excitement was electric. Funding started pouring in. Governments, universities, even the military were all like, this is it. Thinking machines, let's go." The promises were wild. Some researchers claimed that within a few decades, we'd have machines that could translate languages perfectly, play chess like a grandmaster, and maybe even hold a casual chat like your Aunt Linda. Sound familiar? But here's the thing. They were wrong. Spectacularly wrong. The first AI winter, 1970s. The cold shoulder by the early 70s. Reality slapped the AI hype train right off the rails. Machines couldn't really think. Not in any practical sense. Language translation was a mess. Robots could barely tell the difference between a chair and a table, unless you labeled every single pixel. One famous experiment? A robot named Shaky. It could move around a room and recognize objects, but only if everything was perfectly lit, clearly labeled, and nothing ever changed. Not exactly world domination. Governments started getting nervous. The US Defense Department, who'd been shoveling cash into AI for years, looked at the results and went, "Wait, this is it?" And just like that, the money dried up. Boom, first AI winter. No more fat checks. No more lavish research labs. PhDs were scrapped. Ambitions shelved. AI became that awkward kid at the science fair that no one wanted to stand next to. Researchers who once bragged about building digital minds were now quietly shifting into other fields. Robotics, linguistics, or computer vision, just to keep the lights on. A brief thaw and the second chill, 1980s. But AI wasn't done. In the early 80s, a new spark reignited the flame. Expert systems. These were programs that could mimic a human expert's decision-making, like a digital doctor that could diagnose illnesses, or a legal assistant that understood rules. Corporate execs ate it up. Japan launched the fifth-generation computer project, a billion-dollar moonshot to build smart machines. Silicon Valley jumped in too. Suddenly AI was hot again. IBM, Xerox, Digital, everybody wanted in. But here's where history repeated itself. The tech couldn't keep up with the talk. Expert systems were fragile. They worked well on paper, but in real-life scenarios, they crumbled. They couldn't learn. They couldn't adapt. They didn't understand nuance. If you asked the system something it hadn't been pre-fed by a human, it froze. Eventually, companies realized they'd been sold a dream wrapped in wires. AI was once again all hat, no cowboy. By the late 80s, boom, second AI winter. Investments collapsed. Japan quietly shut down their grand project. Hundreds of AI companies either pivoted or vanished. You know what's wild? The word AI became so taboo, researchers started calling their work machine learning, neural nets, or pattern recognition, anything but artificial intelligence. It was the scientific version of, please don't lump me in with that guy. The comeback nobody noticed. 1990s, 2010s. Here's where things get sneaky. While the world stopped caring about AI, a handful of stubborn scientists kept tinkering. They worked in the shadows. No press, no promises, just slow, quiet progress. Neural networks started improving. Researchers figured out better ways to train machines using large data sets. Computing power exploded. GPUs made it possible to crunch numbers faster than ever. Then came Google, Facebook, and Amazon, who had the money and the data to feed these learning models. By the 2010s, we had better algorithms, deeper networks, and, most importantly, massive piles of data. Your clicks, searches, and selfies? They became the fuel. Suddenly AI could do stuff again. It could recognize faces, recommend music, understand speech. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Quietly, behind the scenes, it snuck back into our phones, our homes, our feeds. Then in 2022, boom, ChatGPT dropped, and the world freaked out. Rightfully so. Are we heading toward a third AI winter? Now here's where things get real. Because history has a weird sense of humor, we're in the middle of another massive AI hype cycle. Billions are being dumped into startups, LLMs, AGI research, and AI-generated everything, from novels to voiceovers to deep fakes. But here's the question that nobody wants to ask out loud. What if it's all just another repeat? Sure, ChatGPT is impressive. Claude, Gemini, Sora, all doing wild stuff. But are we overestimating again? Are we setting ourselves up for another hard fall? Remember, we've been here before. Funding booms, wild promises, then cracks. If these models start to hit their limits, if we run into real bottlenecks with reasoning, common sense, or memory, will the money pull out again? Will the public stop caring? Will we freeze again? Why this time might actually be different. Maybe now, not to sound like a doomsayer, because honestly, this time does feel different. We're not just running on hope anymore. We've got infrastructure. We've got user adoption. Businesses are already embedding AI into everything, from supply chains to customer support. There are real-world use cases, real savings, real impact. And the models? They're getting smarter fast. But let's not get cocky. That's exactly what they said in the 70s. And again in the 80s. The danger now isn't that AI will fail. It's that we misunderstand what success looks like. Maybe it's not about human-level intelligence. Maybe it's about useful tools that help assist and enhance, not replace. Maybe the endgame isn't sentient robots, but smart assistants, creative companions, and faster workflows. So here's what we learned. I didn't almost die because it wasn't useful. It almost died because we let our imaginations write checks reality couldn't cash. We treated every breakthrough like a prophecy, every line of code like a miracle. And when those promises didn't show up on time, we turned our backs. The lesson? Stay excited, but stay grounded. Appreciate the wins. Question the claims. Support the research, but don't worship the hype. Because if AI can survive 2 winters, crawl back from obscurity, and eventually write you bedtime stories and business plans, it deserves a little more patience this time around. If you're into the messy, fascinating history of tech and how it shapes what's coming next, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Do you think we're headed for another AI winter? Or are we finally entering the golden age? Catch you in the next one.